coming up on the September 17th edition of Carolina Week.
Got water? If not, we'll tell you why you might want to stock up straight ahead.
Carolina students who live on campus call their dorm rooms home. Some complain it's not much of a home right now because of problems related to construction.
College students are free to eat what they want, sleep when they want, and spend how they want. But that financial freedom could lead to future credit problems.
All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Andrea McAfee.
And I'm Courtney Robinson. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Carolina Week.
Tonight, we start with Hurricane Isabel.
Carolina Week weathercaster Kelly Mahoney joins us now. Kelly, what's the latest?
Thanks, Courtney. Well, while Isabel may not be growing much in intensity, it does continue to grow in size. The latest satellite imagery reveals that some of Isabel's outer bands are beginning to impact portions of the North Carolina coast. As of 5 p.m. on Wednesday, Isabel is currently a Category 2 storm situated at 31.1 north and 73.3 west. That makes it 315 miles south-southeast of Cape Hatteras. Maximum sustained winds are at 105 miles per hour, and the minimum pressure is 955 millibars. Currently, Isabel is moving to the north-northwest at 14 miles per hour. But how will the storm impact us here in the Triangle? Well, beginning on Thursday, right around noon, we can expect sustained winds to pick up to around 30 to 40 miles per hour, with much higher gusts, possibly up to 60 miles per hour, found in embedded squalls. Heavy rainfall, potentially totaling 4 to 6 inches or more, puts portions of the Triangle at risk for inland flooding, and the high winds and moist soil do present the threat of widespread power outages. We will have much more on Isabel and her track coming up in just a little while. Andrea?
And with something as unpredictable as hurricanes, it's always best to be extra prepared.
Carolina Week's Amanda Eiler joins us to tell us more about what the Chapel Hill community can do. Amanda, were the stores busy out there?
You know, actually, guys, we were at the stores earlier today, and you would expect them to be really, really busy, but they really weren't that much. But officials with the university and the town of Chapel Hill are urging students to do extra shopping when they visit the grocery store. Shelves at this local Harris Teeter are emptying quickly as people stock up on items like bottled water and non-perishable food. You need a gallon of water per person in your household and a 3-day supply of food. Make sure you also pick up extra batteries, flashlights, and disposable plates and silverware. Some additional suggestions: a battery-powered radio is a must-have. WCHL 1360 AM will be broadcasting storm updates. Make sure you have some cash. If the power goes out, ATMs won't work. Don't forget about your pooch. Stock up on extra pet food and supplies. And finally, if you take medicine, make sure you have a 3-day supply. Also, guys, on top of that, when the storm starts, everyone needs to make sure that they stay indoors. For more information, you can visit our website, www.carolinaweek.org.
Thanks so much, Amanda.
Thanks, guys.
And on to other news. New dorms are nice once all the kinks are ironed out. Some construction projects finished up a few weeks ago. Or did they? Winston Connor and Alexander Halls were closed last year for renovations. Unfinished and non-functioning elevators, scalding hot or freezing cold showers, and air control problems are just a few of the lingering concerns. Housing Department Communications Specialist Rick Bradley says it's not uncommon for buildings to open before the work is completely finished.
I mean, it's pretty typical that we'll have, with the scope of the construction project that went on, that the work won't be entirely completed before students came back.
Students say the problems are irritating, but there is some good news. While workers are finishing up the laundry rooms, washing those dirty duds is free.
Money coming from vacant faculty positions could bring criticism to the UNC Board of Governors after a recent decision to give raises to university chancellors. Lapsed salaries left over in the annual budgets will go toward the bonuses, which will range from 1% to 12% of the chancellor's current salaries. BOG Chair Brad Wilson says the raises are a way to recruit and retain what he calls the best and the brightest.
That Our chancellors are being recruited. You have to remain competitive from a pay standpoint, and you also need to reward good performance, because eventually they may have their head turned by a better offer.
12 of the 16 chancellors are eligible for the bonus.
Imagine being 30 years old and still paying off a slice of pizza you bought when you were in college. Sounds crazy, but as reporter Anthony Stokes explains, problems with credit card debt can lead to that very situation.
Each year, students head off to colleges across America and find themselves signing up for their first credit cards. Credit card companies tempt students into signing up by offering free gifts like t-shirts and CDs. What many don't realize is that although these gifts might be free, credit cards aren't the same as free money. And when students don't use their credit cards responsibly, the power of plastic can seduce them into spending way more than they can pay off.
And to show you how easy it is to get a credit card, I went online recently and applied for my second. And being a college student working only 8 hours a week, I was able to get an outrageous credit line of $4,000.
UNC Chapel Hill Junior Natalie Jamie says she got a credit card because
I wanted to build my credit. That's the main reason why I got one.
although credit cards can help you build credit, not paying them off can ruin your credit. And that's what Jamie says she fears the most.
Getting into debt, not being able to pay it on time, and having bad credit.
The College Board offers some simple tips to keep in mind. First, start with a credit line of no more than $500. Check the interest rates and annual fees. And pay off your entire balance each month. It would be nice to take a vacation or go on a shopping spree, but the best credit you can give yourself is that you know when to say no. In Chapel Hill, I'm Anthony Stokes, Carolina Week.
The 2001 Nellie Mae credit card study showed that 83% of college students have credit cards. The average debt is nearly $3,000. Most 21-year-olds worry about their next exam and finding a job when they graduate.
But this 21-year-old has bigger concerns. That story when Carolina Week returns.
Mrs. Abruzzo, I'm Ed McMahon, and we're signing up people for... Yes, I am. Yeah. Mr. Murphy, Ed McMahon. We're starting up... No.
Dreams really do come true.
No.
Yes,
Ed McMahon, see.
Ed McMahon.
Yes, Ed McMahon. We're having our first
Ed
ever...
McMahon.
Yes. Tuesday night at the high school. We're starting up the neighborhood watch in this area, and here's all the information.
Stevie, get down here, please.
No, it's just
5, 6, 7, 8.
No tango de neighborhood watch. We're having this neighborhood watch, the first one. Right. I'll come back.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Start a neighborhood watch. It's just one of the many ways you can help make America stronger. To find out how, call or log on for this free guide.
Do you need money for your organization? All you have to do is register to vote locally. This fall, student government is pushing for a stronger student voice in Orange County. SGA Chief of Staff Ben Adams is working on voter rewards program, trying to get 4,000 students to the polls this November.
We're trying to tell students that it's important to vote here because they're actually going to be affected by the people who are if they're going to be living here for the next 4 years, it's good to kind of vote for the people who will be kind of representing Chapel Hill in the town council and making decisions that are going to affect them.
Student government will give an organization 75 cents for every member of the group who registers to vote in Orange County. On Tuesday, representatives from various organizations met with Adams to get registration cards. Student government has more than $3,000 for organizations that get their members registered.
We've been hearing and feeling this for weeks. It's all part of the massive construction on campus. Crews working on phase 1 of the science complex have to get past granite to put in the foundation. So that means high explosives. The crews are blasting during class times to minimize the risk to pedestrians. Construction officials expect to be blasting daily for the next couple of months. As students, most of our problems are limited to what we face here in Chapel Hill. But one woman our age is already a mother of 5, and her worries extend all the way to Iraq. Janiqua Jorge starts her morning helping her 5 children brush their teeth. For her, it's a typical routine, but Janiqua's life is anything but typical.
It's wake up in the morning, bring them to daycare. It's more harder because they won't listen to me.
At just 21, Janiqua is not only raising 5 kids, she's doing it alone. While she's trying her best to provide a good life for her children, her husband is overseas, defending our freedom.
That he won't come back home. That was my biggest fear.
Her husband, Army Specialist Edwin Jorge, is in Baghdad, the heart of the war. Phone calls are not an option. The one letter she received was on their wedding anniversary.
I miss you and the kids, and I want you to know that I love you. I'll be home soon in a couple of months.
On top of raising her children, she says she faces criticism from outside.
Most people put me down about it, but I ignore them because they're not taking care of it. It feels like, like I'm single, like I'm left alone with, 5 kids and stuff. But when I look at his closet, I say, okay, I know he is coming back.
But just when he's coming back is unknown, and explaining to her children where he is, it's not easy.
Me explaining that he's in Iraq, they wouldn't understand where's Iraq. That could be the corner store or anything, the gas station. They don't understand it. So I just tell them that he's at work and he's working and he'll be back soon.
My daddy at work, and he's gonna jump out the airplane.
And while Daddy's away, this little man has some big shoes to fill. Janiqua says her children are helpful, but the time alone has been a wake-up call.
I'm 21 and I'm sitting here with 5 kids. It's not that I don't love my kids. I love my kids to death, but that's not how you want to be with 5 kids at 21.
While Janiqua says she never thought she would end up this way, a military wife, a mother of 5, dealing with the uncertainties of war, she says she has no regrets, only hope her husband will be home soon. Each day brings Janiqua and her husband closer to being reunited. Edwin is expected to come home in 4 months, so his return will be a late Christmas present to the family.
And Kelly Mahoney is back to tell us a little bit more about weather. Kelly?
Yes, well, as Hurricane Isabel draws closer and closer to the North Carolina coast, there's a lot to talk about, and I'll let you know a lot more specifics and some details in just a minute. But first, I want to go to this week's weather question, which is, which North Carolina hurricane did not have its name retired? Was it Hugo, Bertha, Fran, or Floyd? I'll be back with the answer to that weather question and your Hurricane Isabel forecast just after the break.
When your child gets sick with the usual illnesses an unusual number of times, it could be an immune deficiency called PI. Get the warning signs.
There is really only one boy, one girl, one tree, one forest, one ocean, one mountain, one sky, and one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, Earthshare. One environment, one simple way to care for it.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. As Hurricane Isabel begins to batter the North Carolina coast, here in the Triangle, we're just starting to feel some of the storm's effects. Outside, a strong ridge of high pressure has begun to interact with Hurricane Isabel and is stirring up quite a breeze, but not enough of one to keep people from getting out to Franklin Street and trying a pre-hurricane shake. Now, outside the sun may still be shining and it's just a little bit breezy, but conditions should really start to deteriorate here in the Triangle within the next 12 to 24 hours. On that note, let's take a look at the National Hurricane Center's current forecast for Hurricane Isabel. Right now, Hurricane Isabel is located about 315 miles south-southeast of Cape Hatteras. Maximum sustained winds are holding steady at 105 miles per hour. The pressure has fallen just a little bit as of 5 p.m. Wednesday to 955 millibars, making this a strong Category 2 hurricane. It's currently moving off pretty quickly to the north-northwest at 14 miles per hour. If we take a look at Hurricane Isabel on the satellite map, you can see it's really starting to affect portions of the Outer Banks and eastern North Carolina. Now, even though the storm still looks very close, both the path and the timing of the storm still remain a little bit uncertain at this time. Very small fluctuations within the storm center itself can really impact the degree of the storm that we see right here in the triangle. Now, if the storm follows the National Hurricane Center track, we could be on the weaker side of the storm and only see some windy conditions around 30 to 40 miles per hour and a lot of rain, which will dissipate by Thursday night into Friday. However, with a slight change in that path, we could be in for a lot more. So beginning now and through the next 12 to 24 to 36 hours even, we're really going to want to stay tuned to the forecast. If we take a look at the surface map, we can get a better idea of exactly what is steering Isabel and why it's so hard to pinpoint where she's going to go. We have two very strong high pressure ridges up to the northeast, and both of those are kind of competing in who is going to direct Isabel either to the north or to the west. Now, the more west the track, the more of a threat it does hold to the triangle in central North Carolina. Well, the good news about Isabel is that it's going to move so quickly when it gets to shore that we're really only going to be dealing with it through Friday morning. So if we take a look at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast, the weekend is shaping up to be just beautiful. On Friday, we can definitely expect to see some occasional rain throughout the day and still breezy conditions, high of about 80 degrees and a low very mild at 68. So we head through the weekend, though, a clearing trend should be just gorgeous. If you're thinking of heading down to the beach to check out the surf that Isabel stirred up, it should be clearing there as well Saturday into Sunday on the clearing and warming trend. It should shape up to be a beautiful day down at the coast on Sunday. Out in the mountains, the story is just the same. Just gorgeous out there. Very little impact from Isabel itself. Mostly sunny skies and highs very comfortable in the mid-70s. Now, if you're heading up to see the game, that would be in Madison, Wisconsin this weekend at 12 p.m. You can expect a game time temperature of 60 degrees under partly cloudy skies. So it should be quite comfortable football weather. And getting back to that weather question, does anyone remember which of those storms did not have its name retired?
Kelly, I'm going to go with B, Bertha.
You're right. Anyone who was here for Bertha might say that North Carolina really took a beating, but not nearly to the degree that the other storms imposed on the coast. So that was the one that did not have its name yet retired. So that should be reoccurring in the cycle within the next 4 years.
Thanks, Kelly.
Sure.
And even though we're having some bad weather, it doesn't look like it's going to affect sports. Right, Luke?
Well, it shouldn't affect sports, but unfortunately for the Women's United Soccer Association, it's out of business. Current UNC players are facing an uncertain sports future. We'll have that story and more when Carolina Week Sports continues.
Oh, hey, mister, studied algebra in school and got a better job than I could. You take the last couple.
Oh, no, mister. Stuck in an entry-level job because you only learned basic math. I don't have a boss riding my butt like you do, so you take it so you can get back to your desk.
You know, I probably should, but maybe Miss AP Calculus with the $200 haircut in the big office upstairs would like a cup.
Oh, no, mister. What was your name again? Never mind, it doesn't matter. I'm too busy doing important things to care. I just came down for some sweet and stir.
You know, if my limited math abilities weren't keeping me from getting a better job, I'd quit this afternoon.
I don't blame you. But thank goodness you're stuck here because we really need someone to make the coffee.
"17 national titles. That's the tradition that UNC's women's soccer teams have bred. Stars like Mia Hamm and Christine Lilly prove that women have a place in pro sports. But with the folding of the WUSA on Monday, the future of Carolina's current crop of stars beyond college is unclear. Carolina Week's Ann Sexton has the story.
Since the league's beginnings 4 years ago, 32 Tar Heels have graced the fields of the WUSA, with 21 of them serving as the founding players, led by Washington Freedom's Mia Hamm. The WUSA never made enough money to cover its expenses. and some of the top players even chose to take pay cuts last season in order to keep the league on the field. Even at last year's WUSA All-Star game in Cary, Ham knew the cheers from the fans might end one day.
Well, you also know that at one point it's just going to come to an end, and you won't have those opportunities to step out in front of players and show your skills.
She probably assumed those cheers would end in her retirement, not the retirement of her league. As Ham and her national championship teammates enter into their early 30s, the next generation of Carolina soccer stars are just rising to the peak of their careers. But with the WUSA gone from the picture, there are few ways to continue professional soccer career beyond the World Cup every 4 years. Unfortunately, the graduating seniors of Carolina will have little control of if or when there is another league. Sports communication professor John Sweeney says the problems of the WUSA could prevent the future of another pro-women's soccer league.
The problem with getting the opportunity is that if it doesn't work out, now there's a track record that folks didn't show. And it's going to be tougher to restart that way.
With the Women's League formally calling it quits in the spring, the men's Major League Soccer will be the sport's only top-level professional league in the U.S. In Chapel Hill, I'm Ann Sexton, Carolina Week Sports.
The U.S. national team starts World Cup action in Washington, D.C. on Monday versus Sweden. Halfway through another week of practice, the Heels continue to prepare for their first game away from home, and they hope their first win. Desperate for victory with an 0-2 start, Bunting's squad plans to duplicate the hole that UNLV dug for the Badgers and to pile on the dirt. Talk around practice is of strength, confidence, and moving on, but mostly talk is about winning. If Durant can continue to find his men in the end zone as he did versus Syracuse, then the Heels just need to step up their defense and discover in which hole they buried their running game. It's decision time for the Tar Heels, and the general consensus is that it's time for a W. The Heels take on Wisconsin in Madison this Saturday at noon. Both squads are coming off tough losses. The Carolina volleyball team returned home after 3 wins at the Jayhawk Classic. The Heels hope to continue their winning streak at home against Charlotte on Tuesday. During the weekend, the Heels spiked Creighton, Arkansas, and Kansas. Speaking of Kansas, there's a former Jayhawk, Coach Roy Williams, enjoying some good volleyball. Now let's go to the action. Junior Katie Wright says, "No soup for you," as she slams that one. She had 5 kills on the night. Coach Williams likes the offense. Now let's see some defense. Senior Aletha Green says holla back to the 49ers, and the Heels win easily 3-0. Middle hitter Katie Wright and Coach Joe Segula are confident about their future.
We are focused on reaching our potential, obviously, and always finding ways to win and always improving.
The goals are still to win the ACC championship, to be the best team, make the NCAA tournament, and go as far as we can.
Segula's Heels have won an impressive 22 straight home matches. But this weekend, they'll be on the road again to Evanston, Illinois, where they'll face Chicago State, Northwestern, and third-ranked Florida. Well, guys, the volleyball team is doing very well this year. Hopefully the football team can get a win here. We really need one.
Yeah, the football team has had some sour experiences so far.
But we've sure got a sweet treat for you.
America's favorite treat is coming to Franklin Street. We'll have more when Carolina Week returns.
No one looks back fondly on the years they spent in a parking garage. When we lose a historic place, we lose a part of who we are. Help protect historic places in your community. Visit nationaltrust.org.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Carolina is famous for the beautiful old trees on its campus. The man who maintains them keeps a low profile, high off the ground. Jenny McClendon has his story.
9 chancellors ago, when Dwight Eisenhower was president and before Brown versus the Board of Education opened Carolina's doors to students who looked like him, William Hubbard was here. Bus, as his co-workers call him, is a climber.
Ain't nothing easy about it. Ain't nothing easy.
Bus is right. People like you and me probably aren't going to make it much higher than this. But he does. He uses the same rope and pulley system he started climbing with to prune branches all the way up at the top. And he's the only groundskeeper on campus who does it.
I've purchased a bunch of the newer, higher tech things for Bus, and he won't use them. So basically, he's climbing exactly the same way that he was, 30 years ago.
All with his trademark smile.
No words can really describe it. It's the smile.
People who see him say he's not acting his age, 70.
What would you say if I told you he was 70 years old?
I'd say that's pretty damn impressive. I don't think I could do it now.
Bus says years of hard work and healthy living keep him going.
Well, I don't eat too much meat. I don't eat grease and all that. Nothing cooked like steak, chicken, fish. I don't eat that.
Not even at a recent luncheon in his honor.
Rain or shine, heat or cold, the one thing that groundskeepers at UNC can count on day in and day out is that the sun will come up and Bus Hubbard will still be smiling.
Bus received a Chancellor's Award for working 50 years at the university, the longest of anyone ever.
He's almost a metaphor for the university. We're the oldest state university. He's the oldest. He's the longest lasting employee that's ever been here.
Sometimes his wife asks when he'll retire.
Well, she didn't want me to do it when I started.
But he's not ready to quit.
Well, I'm going to keep working. I'm not going to just quit unless I get sick of the dead.
Until then, you'll find him somewhere on campus, high in a tree, smiling. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jenny McClendon, Carolina Week.
Bus says he plans to keep working at least until the groundskeepers move into a new facility, the William S. Hubbard Building, named in his honor.
Living in a dorm might have taught you more than you realize. If you had a few crazy suite mates and like reality TV, you're halfway there. MTV's looking for its next set of stars. Producers from the hit series Road Rules and The Real World are holding casting calls Saturday at Jillian's in Raleigh. The executive producer says they're looking for people with strong personalities who aren't afraid to speak their mind. If you think you have what it takes and are between the ages of 18 and 24, head to Jillian's in downtown Raleigh Saturday between 10 and 5. You'll need a recent picture of yourself and a photo ID. As important as this is to all of us at Carolina Week, we considered making it our lead story.
America's favorite pastry is rolling into town. Americans eat more than 2 billion Krispy Kreme donuts a year. Now Chapel Hill is getting its share of the old-fashioned treat. Company representatives confirmed they'll open a store on Franklin Street soon, but couldn't say exactly when. The new Krispy Kreme store will be located below Top of the Hill restaurant.
From Winston-Salem to Chapel Hill, the donuts are finally here.
I know, and I just can't wait to get a bite. I might just drive to Raleigh this weekend to get some.
Yeah, and while you're down there, you might as well try out for Road Rules and Real World.
I'm a little hesitant to try out for that, but it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we have to do something to get out there and, and just show our skill as a great roommate.
I don't know if I could deal with 7 other roommates and...
Yeah, that's a tough one. This edition for Carolina Week is over, and thanks for watching.
Good night. We'll see you right here next week.